Okay, welcome back to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. So today we're actually going to be focusing more on this building, and actually it's going to be more right here. So essentially what we want to do is we want to create some more storage spot and a place to store some more things. So we're going to take this roof line and bring it down. I think there may be a 412 on this now. We're going to flatten it out so that, because right now if you stand here and bring that roof out, it's going to be only about 6 foot tall, or just shy of. Whenever you bring it out to about here, which is about what we're looking for, maybe in here. And with doing that, maybe in 6 foot, I'm going to hit my head and everything. So we're going to shallow that out, make it about 7 foot, make it a little bit more practical for storage. So we're going to move all of this stuff here and work on figuring exactly what our slope would be and how far out we can come with that shallower slope, come out and then get all of our elevation stuff figured out. And we brought home the vac, and basically we will be able to bore holes in the ground. We'll do 4 posts and we'll put the concrete tube forms in and then mix up and pour some concrete and fill those up. So it's pretty chilly this morning, but it's only about, feels like I think 32 out, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue with those forms. But we want to get those put in, so we'll get this stuff cleaned up and then figure out exactly where we want to go. The only thing we have over here is power over to there, and then we have a power line that runs over to the shed, so we'll have to spot it. So as I mentioned to start out, need to get everything cleaned up here. So we had a lot of lumber that we kind of cut early on that we just kind of had stacked back here that didn't really need to be here anymore. So we got that stuff moved out, kind of determined what we could actually keep and what needed to just go. Then we had a lot of stuff that's kind of outcast or offcast stuff that could be turned into stickers. So we kind of get it cut the length, and then we can go back through and cut it into sticker size. Here I have a transfer case for our pickup truck. The 4-wheel drive's been out in it for about 5 to 10 years. And so this is actually a transfer case out of a Humvee. Use the same transfer case transmission. So I actually have this so that we can eventually get our truck back into 4-wheel drive working shape. So then need to get this block wall, retaining wall taken down so we can get it straightened out. Okay, so we're working on getting everything set up here, and with the way the corner of that building comes out and this retaining wall that we put in over here, we're gonna have to straighten that retaining wall out. So we put posts in there to help stabilize it. So we're gonna pull those out, we're gonna straighten the wall, just come straight out with it, kind of like that other one. So we'll just put the bricks that we pulled out, put them back, and then we'll be able to start actually laying out where the posts are going to go. So just get those pulled out and then use the tractor to kind of get that spot leveled off just a little bit and get it raked out. Put a little bit of gravel down and then just use the gravel to square those up. Don't get any fancy tools out for this, just kind of doing it by eye and getting it put up. Just using the blocks next to it to level it. Okay, got our wall straightened out, so we need to put the brace pieces back in the middle, just drive those in, but we have the power coming to the saw shack here, and then the power going over to that shed. So we're just going to locate those real quick and make sure that we're not going to drive anything through them, and then we're also going to locate here in front, so when we put the sonotubes in, we know where the power is going to be, and that way we can kind of shift things back and forth if we need to now while we're doing the layout. You can see how it comes across and then has a big curve here, so it's going up to the power pole to get power. So we ran a feed directly from that panel out. There used to be another building here and a tree and different things, so that's why there's kind of this big curve where we're missing stuff, so we go out that way. So now we have that located, we can kind of work around that when coming out and figuring out our poles. Okay, so with stuff out of the way, we can actually kind of start getting the layout done and figuring kind of where things are going to go. So on the ends, just look down the building and get those laid out and then start doing some measurement. So we're 24 feet from outside to outside of the old building. We want to come out 18 feet and just kind of checking things for square. Okay, so we got our initial layout done. So blue circles are where we are going to vac out 4 holes for the sonotubes. So this one will be right up against this wall. This one we had to cheat that way because we do have that power coming over. So that's one reason we located it, because you can go ahead and kind of cheat stuff one way or another just a little bit to avoid that. So the nice thing with the vac is you can vac right next to that and it doesn't damage that wire at all. So have that. Other 2 out. So have those. So what we ended up doing is coming out 16 feet. We're not gonna have to change the pitch, so we did get on the roof and check. And if you just come straight down with the 412, you end up at like almost 8 feet. And then even with putting like a 2x10 header across or 2x12, you still have plenty of distance, so won't have to worry about that. So just about to the point we're going to vac these holes. Only other thing we'll have to do is set up the laser level someplace there, probably over here on the concrete, so that we get the height part correct. So we'll probably just start this one. We want these about a foot out of the ground, just so that when we put post on, you don't have to worry about them rotting as quickly. So we'll probably just start this one as 0 and then measure everything off of that. This one being about a foot out. That one may not be quite as much just because we have a little bit of rise, but it'll be pretty close. So let's start, kind of get one done. We have a little bit of 11s kind of put in around to help get everything straight. The vac should be pretty handy for doing this. We haven't had rain, really any appreciable amount for about 31 days now, maybe a little bit longer than that now even. So ground is super dry and would be very hard to dig by hand, definitely since we're going down about 3 feet, and this is already, you can see kind of the elevation of the building back there and how we already have that, we cut this down a little bit, so and then we have just natural fall this way anyway. So we'll get that back fired up next and work on getting these holes done. So we used the vac in another episode doing the piers at the picnic shelter at the 100 acres. So basically, if you're not familiar with it, it is just a big power washer that has a rotating head on it that will eat out the dirt, and then a big vacuum that sucks up the dirt into the holding tank. You can get them really big that are full truck models. This is just one that you pull behind on the trailer, but it's got its own storage tanks for water, the power washer system, and then a vacuum that holds it in that tank. And so we'll be able to just suck these holes out. Again, it's all, its own system. So you have the tanks on the side, power washer hose there on the right side, and then of course the holding tank for the slurry dirt and water in the middle. Vacuum. And basically you just have these hoses that you put on and then suck up the material, and then all the concrete that we need to put back in the quickfeed tube. So I got the vacs pulled over here and started the first hole. So as I explained, it's basically just a big power washer and a big vacuum. So you just kind of work that down, and we know we want to go about 3 feet deep, which is about how long that white tube is. So just kind of start working. We have some landscape fabric in here and got that cut out, and then just start cutting around
you know that the power is right there, so we kind of get it spotted and then start kind of getting a hole next to it. So this pier is going to be a little off, and you'll see that later on, but it's close enough that whenever we do a straight line, everything will still fall on there. This is a very handy tool. It's very messy. With the water, it's always spraying back up at you, and you have the mud and everything. So, pretty messy, but pretty handy. Not having to either use postal diggers, and like we don't have a auger that we can put on the tractor or anything, and like in this case the power line's too close, so we wouldn't be able to use that anyway. So this is a very handy tool to be able to do this with. Takes a little bit of time, but it's pretty low effort as far as, you know, how much physical work you have to put into it. So the little bit of time it takes to power wash and get that sucked out is definitely worth it. As I mentioned before, kind of in a drought season here, so the ground's super hard, and wouldn't have been super practical to try to dig that out by hand. Here we're just trying to get the initial size down, make sure we have the hole big enough around, and then once we have that figured out, we'll start going down. So on this, just open up the back door, and because there's no chemicals or anything, it's just dirt and water, just let it go up the back.
Okay, so he's working on emptying out the back. So basically you have that big drum, it tilts up, door opens on the back, and you can let out all the dirt, water mixture. Then he just takes the power washer and cleans it all out. If you clean it out every time, it lasts a lot longer, just a lot better for it. Not keeping that mess in there. So he's cleaning that out. We got the laser level out. Saw we got all of these leveled up, so they're all at the same height now. We just put some 11s that we had in the little tractor bucket and filled it in the center and kind of raised and lowered to kind of get it. That one was our highest one, so there's no gravel in that one. But then you can see in that one there's a little bit of gravel, and we just picked it up and kind of worked it until the laser level is happy. So I'll work on getting all the stuff out for concrete. So I'll get the mixer out, bring a hose over, and then start mixing up concrete. Probably do like we did before, where you just dump it into a 5-gallon bucket, and then start dumping it in each of the tubes. So we'll start working on that. Next, keep a little bit of gravel on hand just so if we need to straighten anything up. You can see we're a little bit canted. We didn't have a whole lot of extra room. We'll try to square those up just a little bit, but it shouldn't be that big of an issue if they're off just a little bit, but I don't think they're really too bad. I think it's more of an optical illusion with the ground.
So as we've done in other projects, we do the concrete mixing with our Harbor Freight mixer, bag at a time, and just dump it into the 5-gallon bucket to distribute it to each of the tubes. Takes about 4.5 to 5 bags of Saccrete per tube, so it actually goes pretty quick. It's not too bad. Definitely compared to other projects we've done where we've had to mix up, 40 to 50 bags. Then just take, and see we have the trowel there, just kind of flatten off the tops and kind of work some of that cream to the top just so you have kind of a smooth top without as much aggregate.
Alright, do one quick wrap up here. So have all concrete in the piers. Went through and just cleaned the tops of them off so that they should be smooth. So we'll let them set up now. And probably next weekend we'll see if we can't get a couple of trees down here at the homestead that have splits in them. They're poplars. We'll get them down. We have some 6x6s we'll use that were from another project that we didn't end up using. Not things that we cut. We'll probably use those. We need about 7 to 8 feet here. And then we're still trying to figure if we're going to cut our own rafters out. Part of that's going to depend on how long we need them to be, since we can only do 18 feet. And then what trees we have available, and kind of if we want to use that green lumber. So we're still kind of figuring that out, but we're getting close to being able to build. I'm going to go ahead and do an outro video now. We haven't done the mixing yet, but I'm guessing by the time we get that done, we'll have to get the back and everything back. I'm going to do an outro now. So assuming things go as planned, we'll have all these full. I'll try to get a video of that, just filling those up. Pretty repetitive mixing. I'll have the time lapse going for that, but we'll be able to get all these full. So be step 1 to getting an addition added onto this. So just a lean-to coming off. We'll extend the roof and move all the fascia pieces down here. And since we determined that we can keep the same roof line of 412 down, we won't have to do any goofy transition pieces. So that'll help kind of reduce what all we have to do. We'll be able to just stick pieces up, come down, probably do a foot up, and then have like a foot sticking over on the end. So this will be a spot for storage on something that should be here in a couple weeks. And then it'll also allow us a little bit of storage for more wood to dry. Be mostly protected from the sun, so we won't get direct sunlight, and should have decent airflow through here since we'll have this open. So hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time in the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods.